Hello, and welcome to another Out of the Park series that attempts to make a boring game not so boring. I was watching SB Nation's docuseries on the Seattle Mariners, and all the talk about expansion teams and Nintendo made me realize that the time was ripe for another such team to exist, but preferably without such a sustained history of losing. And with that, I've started a new game file. There will be 2 expansion teams, the El Paso Tempest, but more importantly, my team, the Las Vegas Pikachus of the AL West. It was that or the dildos, and this has a slightly less chance of getting banned from YouTube. We have the option to create the minor league system, which I let the AI do. Go away! Because it doesn't really matter right now and I can fix it later. And for the expansion draft, no fictional characters will be created, players are automatically protected below 2 years of service time, and there's no limit on how many players can be picked from a single team. And with that, let's go! God damn it, I said go away! Of course, we have to update our team colors and logos because Out of the Park doesn't give you a lot to work with on their end. I've also created a crappy logo for our team with all of my knowledge of Photoshop. And there, we are officially the Pikachus. Because we have accepted this job of building a team from scratch, we are bestowed owner goals, which is basically not to set the stadium on fire. And we're officially better than the Mets. Here is the personnel I hired for all of the positions. They don't actually accept the jobs for a few days, which will come into play in this video. These are the manager settings and team strategy I'm using for this run. Basically the same as every other time I play this game, so for more information go check out one of those. For the expansion draft, I won't bore you with every one of my picks, but I wanted to show you my first pick, Franklin Colomb, a starting pitcher. For regular viewers of my channel, you know that pitching is what I aim for in almost every scenario, and this was no exception. Now, I'll be frank. I've never had great success at expansion drafts. I can usually build off of what I create pretty quickly, but as far as actually obtaining any meaningful talent through this, I've never once had any star talent take off like I've seen others do. I also don't have a scout to help me find talent at the moment, so I'm going off of what Out of the Park is suggesting to me. So for now, I'm planning for the long haul rather than trying to find immediate impact because we're probably going to be basement dwellers for at least the first couple of seasons. Season 3 is my goal for being competitive. That being said, after all my picks have been made and their role in the organization has been decided, these are the pitching assignments and lineup I'm left with. Not exactly star caliber. We also have some available free agents we can sign to minor league deals, but one major league offer I made was to Tim Beckham, who was offered a 1-year deal worth $1.75 million. In no way do I expect this to be a huge impact on our roster, but we need all the help we can get. Opening day is here, and as per the usual tradition, I play the opening day game. Here is the lineup I've chosen. Surprisingly, this was a pretty competitive game as Josh Naylor starts us off right with a 2-run home run in his very first major league at-bat.
Welcome to the big leagues, Ruck!
Unfortunately, as we would expect, we end up losing to the Indians 5-6, but overall this game could have been a lot worse.
It could have been worse, John. A lot worse.
Shortly after, Tim Beckham accepts my major league contract offer. To make room, I demote Gabriel Arias to AAA. This is my new lineup. Speaking of being demoted to AAA, one fun bug about Out of the Park that still hasn't been fixed is the minor league teams in your newly expanded system will not actually play their first season. As we go through the season, you'll see me send players on rehab assignments or be demoted, and that player will do nothing during their time in the minors. I'm aware of this, but have no idea how to fix it. Leave a comment if you know a workaround. I make a trade with the Athletics, sending Brent Honeywell Jr., Chad Sobotka, and Jesus Sanchez for Sean Manaea, 2 minor leaguers, and cash. I can see Manaea sticking around at least through the rebuilding years. Wait, is it technically considered rebuilding if it was never built previously? To make this trade work, I demote Jeff Hendricks and Damon Jones. These are my new pitching assignments, as well as my lineup. My number 1 pick, Franklin Colomb, is out for 5 to 6 weeks, and I call up Mirandy Gonzalez to replace him. These are my new pitching assignments. We reach May with an absolutely miserable record of 11-23, a .324 win percentage, last in the division. We're near the bottom of almost every category throughout the league. Basically, this is as expected. These are my pitching stats, as well as my batting stats. I DFA Blake Bivens and call up Jason Vargas to replace him. These are my new pitching assignments. I make a trade with Arizona, sending Jhoulys Chacin, Taylor Gibbo, and a minor leaguer for John Duplantier, Josh Green, and 3 minor leaguers. I wanted Duplantier because of his cheap, controllable years ahead. These are my new pitching assignments. Franklin Colomb is no longer injured and is sent on a rehab assignment for no reason other than to say he did it. I claimed Diolis Guerra off of waivers and he is later added to the roster. To make room, I demote Marshall Kozowski. These are my new pitching assignments. Tim Beckham is out for 2 months and I call up Sheldon Noose in his place. This is my new lineup. We arrive at June basically sucking pretty hard with a 20-42 record at .323 win percentage, last in the division. In no way do I expect us to improve in any meaningful way this season, but we still gotta play ball. These are my pitching stats, as well as my batting stats. I make a trip with the Yankees, sending Tommy Kahnle, Austin Barnes, and a minor leaguer for Davy Garcia, Brian Keller, a minor leaguer, and cash. Garcia seems to be a recurring player in my videos, and sure enough, here he is again.
I'm back.
To make this trade work, I DFA Jason Vargas, demote Jeff Hendricks, and call up Seth Beer and William Contreras. These are my new pitching assignments, as well as my lineup. Draft time, and we have the number 2 pick this time around. One thing that's pretty cool about being an expansion team is having a huge draft budget, since we don't spend any money on major league players, and as a result, I gave $15 million for my number 1 pick, Nick Bitsko, but also gave $6 million to my number 9 pick as well.
This is a journey into money. Loads of money.
Franklin Colomb's rehab assignment is over, and to make room on the major league roster, I demote Mirandy Gonzalez. These are my new pitching assignments. Kevin Padlo is out for 4 weeks, and I call up Lucas Urseg in his place. This is my new lineup. Mid-season goals time, and the owner has mixed feelings about my job performance. Dude, this is the first year of existence for this goddamn team. I need you to get laid or something. That's not what I meant! Sean Manaea is out for 5 to 6 weeks, and I call up Peter Solomon in his place. These are my new pitching assignments. We entered July having technically improved, but in no meaningful way, to a 31-56 record, a .356 win percentage, last in the division. It is interesting we improved, but I guess you can't lose them all. Trust me, I have tried. These are my pitching stats, as well as my batting stats. I make a trade with the Nationals, sending Bobby Bradley, Franklin Colomb, and a minor leaguer for Yangervis Solarte, Jonathan Herman, and 3 minor leaguers. Really just wanted the minor leaguers in hopes that failing to play the rest of the season doesn't ruin their development. I also make a trade with the Red Sox, this one significantly more important, sending Davy Garcia, John Duplantier, Isan Diaz, Tyler Wade, and a minor leaguer for Jeter Downs, Tanner Hook, Jonathan Araz, and 2 minor leaguers. Although Isan Diaz was doing pretty well at second base, Jeter Downs has significantly more upside, and I got him cheap due to a poor performance this season. And if we take a look, he's got pretty decent all-around potential for a second baseman. This guy could end up being our first real franchise player. Also, he's apparently quite the prankster. I can't wait to see what shenanigans he comes up with.
Our shenanigans are cheeky and fun.
Yeah, I mean, his shenanigans are cruel and tragic.
Which makes them not shenanigans at all, really. Evil shenanigans.
I swear to God, I'll pistol whip the next guy that says shenanigans.
To make this trade work, I call up Mirandy Gonzalez. These are my new pitching assignments, as well as my lineup. I accept a trade offer from the Reds that sent catcher Kurt Casale for a minor leaguer. To make this trade work, I demote Luis Torrens. This is my new lineup. Kevin Padlo is no longer injured and is sent on a rehab assignment. I make a trade with the Phillies, sending Luis Barrera, Ryan Healy, Seth Beer, and 2 minor leaguers for Zach Eflin, Spencer Howard, and 3 minor leaguers. I figured Zach Eflin could be a decent starter for us and thought the trade was worth it. To make this trade work, I demote Dakota Chalmers and Peter Solomon, as well as call up Lucas Ursig, Kevin Padlo, Tristan Casas, Jeff Hendricks, and Jake Smolinski. These are my new pitching assignments, as well as my lineup. And of course, our newly acquired player, Spencer Howard, is out for 3 to 4 weeks. I call up Dakota Chalmers to replace him on the roster. These are my new pitching assignments. Tim Beckham is no longer injured and is sent on a rehab assignment. I make a trade with the Royals, sending a minor leaguer for Mike Montgomery and 3 minor leaguers. I have no idea why the Royals made this trade, but fuck it, I'm not questioning this. To make this trade work, I demote Dakota Chalmers. These are my new pitching assignments. Sean Manaea is no longer injured and is sent on a rehab assignment. I make a trade with the Braves, sending Damon Jones, Ben Bowden, and Tanner Hook for Adam Duvall, Corbin Klaus, Jeremy Walker, Tucker Davidson, and a minor leaguer. I only wanted Duvall and Klaus, the others were just giveaways from the Braves. To make this trade work, I DFA Jake Smolinski. These are my new pitching assignments, as well as my lineup. We make it to August, again improving slightly to a 44-72 record, a .379 win percentage, last in the division. I think we can safely say we will not be the worst team in MLB history at this point. These are my pitching stats, as well as my batting stats. I played the game after the trade deadline, not for any meaningful reason at this point, but because I'm a masochist and wanted to see what happens. As such, this is the lineup I went with. This game was probably the most exciting game I've ever played and out of the park. Our starter gave up 13 earned runs before I finally took him out, but slowly we kept chipping away at the seemingly insurmountable lead, getting lucky with a couple of homers, including this pinch hit homer by Brewer Hicklin in the bottom of the 6th, timely singles, and a couple of errors on the Red Sox part. But then in the bottom of the 7th, still down by a bundle, Jeter Downs, the previously mentioned future franchise player, hits a fucking grand slam that brings us within striking distance. Now that was a crushed baseball.
That ball cannot be buried in a Jewish cemetery because it just got tattooed.
Unfortunately, despite almost making an historic comeback, we lose to the Red Sox 14-15, but damn, that game got me pretty fucking hard. Shortly after, Jeter Downs is out for 2 weeks, and I call up Tim Beckham to replace him. This is my new lineup. Jeremy Walker is out for 4 months, and I call up Sean Manaea to replace him. These are my new pitching assignments. Tim Beckham manages to do something I've never seen before. He's out with back spasms, but the time he will be out is just a question mark.
We're gonna figure out what's wrong with you. But first we need to know one thing. Have you ever appeared in any pornos?
I leave him on the roster in the meantime until I get more information. Jeter Downs is no longer injured and is sent on a rehab assignment. We reach September no longer improving to a 52-93 record, a .359 win percentage, last in the division. We have a pretty good chance of reaching 100 losses this season, which would be fucking awful. These are my pitching stats, as well as my batting stats. I finally get some information on Tim Beckham and he's out for 4 weeks. I guess I'm basically done with him for this season and possibly forever. For roster expansion, as well as to fill Tim Beckham's spot on the roster, I call up Jeter Downs, Lucas Erceg, and Marshall Kozlowski. These are my new pitching assignments, as well as my lineup. And that's it! We reached the end of the season having successfully surpassed 100 losses with a 56-106 record, a .346 win percentage, last in the division. These are my pitching stats to end the season, as well as my batting stats. Here you can see where we ended up standings-wise, and, somewhat predictably, we're last in the major leagues.
Wow, winning.
As far as who won the World Series, the Braves beat the Angels in 7 games. At least it wasn't the Astros again. To end the season, the owner is happy with my performance, my contract is extended, although I'm not getting paid all that much, and the Major League roster size has been extended to 27, which is pretty cool. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe because I told you to, and that's really all you need to know about it.